Hey guys, we got a new show coming out called Roll Q. This week on the premiere episode, we sat down with a bunch of the best ADCs to ever do it and talk about their hunter play, or as Funball often says during the episode, the carries, because there's a distinct difference.
I think Season 3, Amelito was the best hunter who's ever played. Well, I guess he played Aegis actually.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, you know.
Carries.
Yeah.
Best carry player the game has seen.
So check it out, and thanks for watching.
Some good conversation there. Aggro at the top of things as always, and the carries kind of doing their stuff as well. Shout outs to Zetman for no reason. But Anatoly's going to be sitting next to me, and so he'll be able to break down some of this minor league stuff. I'm Tom, that's Anatoly. This is the European Minor League. We just got a chance to see Simplicity go head-to-head versus Firecrack of the Boys, and Flashpoint do take it 2-1. And now as we move on, we get a chance to see some other big names. Pretty Prime and the rest of Out Cold is going to be going head-to-head against Mr. Steffen's team, which is always very interesting, Horizon Union. And so looking at Mr. Steffen versus the guys of Out Cold, before we get into picks and bans, what are you anticipating?
It has to be the mid lane matchup. Pretty Prime versus Mr. Steffen. We're going to probably see some long-range artillery picks between these two, whether it's the Thoth, the Raijin of the likes, maybe even some Scylla from time to time between these two. Some Vulcans, maybe it's another one. It's a very nice go-to. But outside of the mid lane matchup, I'm also looking at the Hunters. We just saw the Roll Q thing. I think Echrome versus Spudio is going to be an interesting matchup. I'm curious to see if it's going to be typical Hunters or actual mages.
Well, let's jump right into it. Picks and bans on the way here for Ho Run and OCG. I like that. Ho Run?
Yeah, like a home run.
Yeah.
When they win a set, do you think that's what they yell?
No. I mean, sure. Yeah, totally. That's what they yell.
You got to go with it. It's yes and.
Yeah, and?
No, you do the and part.
We'll do the ban part. How about that? No Thor and no Merlin, says the Yellow Squad across the way. OCG going to ban out some of the Chronos and the Isis. Very meta bans right now. All four of these you can expect to be seen banned in your own games, banned in the Pro League, banned in the Console League. They're just that good. Zhang Kui will be banned here by Horizon, very standard as well. Sometimes he sneaks his way on through, but he's certainly worth a ban. And the Kumbhakarna for Out Cold, that one's a little bit spicy. That one's definitely targeted.
It definitely is. Just like the last set where we saw Set and Giannis being banned away against Flashpoint, this is another instance where OCG is worried about the Kumbhakarna for setup patrol, as the Zhang Kui was able to be kind of sneaked into that last set, and we saw what Caspainfire was able to do with it. Osiris, not really the most popular first pick potential, but when you're looking for solo lane pressure, he's one of your go-to options.
Not only does he just have good advantage against almost all the characters, Glad Shield working on him, but also mitigations, more physical than magical. But the magical do exist, and it's 8% is nothing to shake a stick at. So Osiris can certainly put you in a nice, even, neutral zone to kind of deal with whatever the opponent wants to give you. Across the way, Out Cold going to go on the Jormungandr, the World Serpent that we saw so much of last match. All three games featured the Jormungandr, but the set will come out as well. Heavy damage on that choice. Horizon rounding out their Osiris with a Poseidon and a Khepri.
And with how aggressive Set is by nature, you need a defensive guardian such as Khepri. If it's not going to be the Geb, get the Khepri going for the Scarab's Blessing. The issue is by picking it this early in the draft, you leave yourself vulnerable to a few execute. But with Set and Jormungandr, unless you're playing one of those two gods support, then you're going to be having to only worry about the execute coming from that support role. And if it's an Achilles, then that's a very aggressive front line from OCG, which they would kind of want to face off if you're Ho Run.
That's fair. That's certainly fair to look at. The Morgan on the other side is going to be able to do a little bit of everything. So Horizon has a Khepri ult, so does the Out Cold Gaming Boys. You know, this pick is very volatile, but certainly can put you in a position to take advantage of the opposition.
A Poseidon would be nice to apply the cripple onto the Khepri. We're going to see a Scarab's Blessing revive. You just instantly transform, drop the Kraken right on top of it. Maybe double set action. Double Kingslayer chasing the same target, running them down. Going to be difficult to really get away if that's the case. Double World Serpent. There's a lot of possibilities on OCG side.
Out Cold going to ban out Erlong Shen. He'll be taken out, and the Horizon guys going to deal with some physical as well. No Anhur. And as they look towards that last choice, certainly with their eyes on the middle lane, I think. The Morrigan could be played in the carry role. It will be Najah. If I look at Outcold Gaming, and this is a huge nod to them in their pick position, Set, Jormungandr,
Yeah.
Morrigan, I have no idea where these characters are going.
It's very flexible. I like their draft as well from OCG, but if I'm anticipating Morrigan to go into that long lane, Chernobog in mid, though, still more flexibility. That can go mid, that can go long lane, and I love that from OCG because you keep Horizon guessing. Like Osiris, very obvious where that's going. Poseidon, okay, now it's more obvious. King Arthur, very obvious where that's going because there's no role outside of the soul lane.
Exactly.
Khepri, very obvious where that one's going. So this draft a little bit more in line from Horan with the exception of Poseidon and AMC, which could flex between that middle and long lane.
Yeah, I mean, Horizon is giving us a composition that I think 98% of the time goes one way and the other 2% goes another. We look at Outcold Gaming, and Robin usually winds up in the jungle, but he started in the solo lane, and we have seen his return to solo, even post a lot of the assassin changes. I don't know where Outcold Gaming is going, but I know where Horizon is going. We certainly will see who's going to pass the victory with a W. Let's get it down to the commentators.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, Anatoly. It is Finch and Aggro bringing you Horizon Union up against Outcold Gaming. And Outcold kind of started to get things together towards the end of that first phase, despite it being rough. So I'm excited to see how they're going to play here up against Horizon Union with some familiar names, but maybe a couple that are a little less so.
Yeah, Mr. Stefan and E-Chrome, you should definitely all recognize in those two in some positions of power, really. These carry positions. So hopefully they're able to make some plays in those.
Yes, I think so too. As you said, certainly some familiar names on this squad, but maybe not quite at the level of some of what Outcold has
Like
achieved
Dimmy,
with Prime and
yeah.
Dimmy here on this team, of course.
Bit different.
Yeah, Spudio and Frosty, of course, played at high level as well too, and Breeze, I think, was kind of that stabilizing force to them. They really struggled for a while to find a support, I think, that they were comfortable playing with. This Frostyak is in a lot of trouble here early on, trying to keep up as his King Arthur, but it's not enough. Frosty makes it out. He is going to lose his blue buff on the back end unless Dimmy can make his way in. He waits patiently, biding his time, but no, it is stolen away by Horizon Union.
Frostyak's pretty poked, and here comes Original, actually, who's level 2. Frostyak may need to blink, and he does, but still got hit by the Horrific Emblem coming out of Original. Still not enough to keep the chase up. Horrific Emblem, Osiris Jungle.
It's pretty original.
What? It was a meta selection a long time ago. When Horrific Emblem was a thing, you could kind of flex it into the jungle at times. Meta might be a little bit strong, but it isn't the first time we've seen it. It can be good against characters like the Morrigan and like Robin, who can have a hard time getting away from you. Dimmy once a Sandstorm is down. I don't hate it. Just a matter of if he can really leverage it and also keep safe with all this CC on the other side.
It's not going to be an easy task for him, but Osiris is so strong right about now that, I mean, you kind of just feel good having him on your team anywhere. And he does have some decent gank potential, especially with this Horrific. It kind of doubles down on the things I feel like Osiris already did well, though. Like, if they were going to get away from your slow, you've kind of stacked up on that. But if they can't, then they're for real slowed now. So you're really able to catch up with them. But I was talking about the history of this Outcold team and how much I felt like Breeze added when he was able to come in and kind of be that stable player for this roster. I mean, I think it's helped them grow a lot.
Can't disagree with you. They've looked a lot better towards the back end of Phase 1.
Yeah.
But they've had a rough start here in Phase 2. They're coming into this set 0-2, I believe. So clearly not where they want to be right now, but I do agree that they've gotten stronger and will continue to improve as this phase goes on. Breeze, don't forget, if you don't recognize that name, it's because he hasn't been playing Smite for that long. A former Heroes of the Storm World Champion came over to Smite not that long ago, so he's got a lot of room to grow still, and that's a good thing for Outcold.
I agree, and he's already on a Jormungandr, not quite what you think of as your traditional supports. There was a while where we were still trying to figure out where to put Yorm. He was in mid for zeros, and we were seeing some support, but I think solo has kind of become his home now, where he fits in the best, and he can itemize into plenty of damage and still be relatively survivable. But we're seeing Breeze put him back towards that support role, so clearly comfortable doing stuff that not everyone's doing, as Dimmy just takes a ton of poke from this King Arthur.
Dimmy didn't go for a relic at level 1. He's holding on to see what he feels like he needs. Probably a matter of if he gets back in time and has the correct amount of gold to get a Glad Shield or something like that, he can teleport back in and keep the wave going. He's able to push heavily. Maybe he can hold on to it still and still wait and see what he wants to go for.
I think more solo laners should be using this option where you're not committing to it. If you need teleport, you'll be back in base anyways, so you can buy it right away.
That's right, if there is another relic that you want. And I imagine this is Dimmy perhaps hedging his bets, like if I do get pressured out, I can always buy the teleport. If not, I can go for a more active sort of relic. I didn't mean to do the old name for relics there with that, but hey, I walked into it. But yeah, I do like this idea here from Dimmy. And Set can feel pretty difficult to lane against sometimes. I think King Arthur probably doesn't have to worry as much, but Set can at times be a bit of a bully over there. If it works out for him, he can go more aggressive as Frostiak has to use the overhead kick. In comes Breeze for a little bit more damage, but they're being cut off by Dimmy. A nice Whirlpool buys him some time. Kraken as well knocks him up, but Prime wants to come right in too.
Now it's going to be the Khepri who's the focus, though, and it's Astia who's the first kill. First blood going out Cole's way. Just level 4s versus level 5s in a better rotation from Dimmy. Beats out Faquozo towards the mid lane.
Wow, he got over there quick, didn't he? That clearly must have been a call from out cold early on. Either that or he just happened to be nearby. But this is the kind of thing you're hedging your bets towards, I imagine, when you don't pick up the teleport right away. Now he can find this back timing with the Glad Shield and commit to the teleport to get back here into lane in a pretty good spot.
Now he's in a great spot. He got a bunch of extra Warriors Blessing stacks, so that's going to be completed earlier. That means that he'll box better for at least a little bit of time, even up against the King Arthur. Eventually, Arthur is going to do Arthur stuff, but there's a reason we've seen a lot of Set as of late. It's because this character does some pretty nuts things, and really I think it's because he attacks you from 2 different axes at the same time, right? He does ability damage with Skewer, long range, great poke, low cooldown, lots of damage. And then he could also all-in you and auto-attack you down, and it's hard to itemize against both of those.
Yeah, I describe it as it feels like it's hard to pick your spot up against a Set because they're able to play in this sort of non-committal way where they can kind of keep you guessing. They hold the slow until you've committed movement abilities or the dash until you're over the wall or until they need the escape. It's this sort of... He can do well from multiple spots, sort of as you said. It's non-committal, and it can make it difficult for you to pick your own spot.
Asia's still only level 4, so can't really safely walk in this way unless they want to take some damage, which they will, but no commit coming from Frostiak and Breeze. That's because Echrome out-cleared Spuddy on this left-hand side.
He's going to fall back, though, does Echrome. Breeze nearby in the jungle on the Jormungandr. The one time he can be sneaky is when he goes below ground, and Breeze wisely steps back. But this is a nice slow from Out Cold Gaming. They're playing aggressively here into the jungle, but there's no red buff, no oracles. They've already gotten mid-harpies. Not a ton for them to get even from this.
Plus, Astia hit level 5, so Scarab's Blessing's up. You don't want to all-in commit onto the Khepri, even at level 5, because that delay will end up hurting you. But this strategy of poking out the Khepri is one that we've seen be very successful against these supports who want to stick in the fight longer all the time. He's dead to Bees, I believe, and got a leap out, and at least took the stinger away from him.
That's right, Echrome will be able to get that reset. As in goes Frostiak. He recognized that the Khepri's low. That forces the Scarab's Blessing out early, so there won't be any res here. Kraken doesn't find a whole lot. But Prime is still active. He is able to come in and find the kill. No, it's Dimmy that gets one. Prime gets the other. They found 2 here already, and now all of a sudden King Arthur has no choice but to run. He looks for the turnaround stun as his only way out, but another kill for Spuddy out. Out Cold find 3 for 0.
Beautiful fight for Out Cold, and I was saying that they didn't take the fight on the left-hand mid-harpies because Echrome had out-cleared. Spuddy doesn't have to worry about that, getting all the way over to the right-hand side. Nice use of that global ult.
Now, could be some trouble here for Frostiak. He's trying to find the kill here, but a nice abduct puts an end to all that. Maybe a little bit too aggressive. Looks like he didn't even find the buff invade had he been going for it, so just a bit of a gift.
Right idea, you know Original's low, speed buff's coming up, you get 2 of the 3 creeps, take that win. You know that Asia's respawning, a lot of people of Horizon Union are respawning because you just got a bunch of kills. Stuck around a little bit too long there. That's definitely a mistake from Frostiak.
Yeah, unfortunate. He is a little bit behind Original now, as he is in the middle of working on his next pen option, whereas Original looks like he might be working on to Frostbound. Or, excuse me, Blackthorn. I was going to say that with his devotion to slows, maybe it's Frostbound.
Sure, but, could have been working.
Sure, but yeah, very likely Blackthorn that's coming through here now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the Runeforge. Though it could. I mean, you're already building the horrific emblem. You're going to be slowing people pretty consistently. Maybe Runeforge is the extra damage that you're looking for.
Sure.
More physical power, less HP. I think it'll probably be Blackthorn, but maybe there's an argument to be made for Runeforged.
There you go. You just sold yourself on it. I
did.
saw it, man. I could hear it in your voice. You're the worst.
How do you mean?
Yeah, you can't think of any ways?
Nope.
You just now were like, yeah, I'm kind of nuts. I just sold myself on that. Yeah.
I could sell myself on anything.
I know, because you love yourself so much. Prime into the stealth, finds the stun. It's original. That's his target. In comes Spudio as well, and they've already procced the revive on Mr. Steffen, but it cost them Prime's life. They're going to need to do some damage here to make up for losing the Morgan so early. Good job from Spudio to avoid the Lord of the Afterlife from original. In comes Breeze for a 2-man knockup, but there's no one around to follow up. This feels more retreat than anything, but Frostiak turns around for more damage.
Ooh, Echrome actually uses the Aegis. Wasn't sure if there was more damage coming after Spudio's root combo. Echrome's AMC is becoming a real problem already for OutCold. That's 2 just stingers he's unleashed onto OutCold members that have just chunked them and brought them down to the bees damage after the fact. Level 11 now, I mean, has the completed Transcendence. That's where this meta of leaving these hunters alone, Spudio's made great impact too, don't get me wrong, 2-0 and 2 for him, but Echrome getting all this extra farm. He's stingering a level 8 at the time Morrigan, 3-level lead. He's going to half health, if not more.
So much damage coming out from this Amusin Cobb, and you can tell he's putting a lot of this
even
work.
leveling it yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of skipped on it to put it into Swarm and to the Hive, which I actually think is not a bad call from him if he's not expecting to be doing too much boxing out or needing extra stinger damage. It's worked out for him, though. This Amusin Cobb, quite comfortable, now level 12. Should be ready for that second relic right now. Which will be beats, no suspense.
No doubt about it. He's not going for sprints or anything like that. You need the CC immunity.
Not get Blink.
On the AMC. Okay.
It's the best relic in the game, but no, you should not get it here. No.
Blink Stinger seems pretty good, though.
Yeah, think about if they ever do live, how crippled they'd be.
Maybe
just
real
think about
crippled.
Yeah. That's
like
pretty
Spudio would be
nuts.
like, let me get in that wall. Oh, I can't. I'm crippled.
Yeah, also I'm probably dead because of the stinger part.
And you can't do that without Blink.
That's true, man.
You've sold me, Finch.
Yeah, happy to do it. Yeah. Look at that. Selling's not so hard. But Prime...
Maybe me buying it isn't.
Yeah, that's what it really is. You're a bit of a chill, I guess. You'll put the money out too easily. Prime, in that last fight, that felt really aggressive from some of his positioning. You could almost be forgiven for mixing things around as Breeze gets blown up in the middle lane. Mr. Steffen with the Whirlpool into Kraken. That's an easy combo for him. And 2 deaths now for Jormungandr.
Breeze even tried to use the shell in time, and he got it off, but it just didn't end up making an impact. That immediate Poseidon Kraken after Whirlpool, don't forget that Jormungandr does get dazed from the Whirlpool effect because of the Vortex. So it means that he took 10% more damage from the Kraken, which might not even have been needed because of where we are at this point in the game. It's pretty easy to end up killing those supports with Kraken right now, but when you got to add 10% more damage, it's that much easier.
He's got Travelers as well, so not getting a ton of help from that item in terms of keeping him alive. Here's Horizon Union, though, into OutCold's jungle yet again, and Breeze is the target yet again. Can't even make it into the ultimate, and Original finds another kill. Onto the red buff we go. Horizon Union have suddenly started to turn things around, find a couple of quick picks. Remember, it was OutCold who got off to a good start.
That's brutal, man. And now it's a Gold Fury pulled by Horizon Union. Spudio's here, and Frostiak's got a good angle. They don't know he's here.
I don't think they do. Up into the air goes Spudio. He's made his way in. Mystic Rush. They steal the objective, and they find a kill, but Echrome responds by blowing up Prime. Frostiak gets Mr. Steffen, though, for a double. He's been slowed, so Echrome finds a double of his own, but still, that's better than I think OutCold could have hoped.
Absolutely. They get the objective and a double kill for Frostiak at the exact same time. Just good angle by Frosty. That's typical assassin play, you know, not letting your opponent know exactly where you are in the jungle. No ward coverage on the bottom end for Horizon Union. And despite Breeze having a really rough series of events, back-to-back instances of getting picked, it ends up working out okay for OutCold.
Yeah, the only real downside that I'm seeing here is that we just put more coal in the Echrome train, and it's off the tracks right now. I mean, he's 4-0-1, level 14, right there with Dimmy on this set. And we've already seen the kind of impact he's able to have on the Amusin Cobb, and that's not going away. Amusin Cobb stays relevant. It's going to be scary. Maybe there's a chance Dimmy can get in and kind of bully him off his spots, but I think it's going to be a real problem for OutCold.
Dimmy is going to have to be the one to try and handle it. Maybe Prime can try and get in there, and it looks like Prime is switching focus very early towards a Bumba's Mask to try and get around all this CC and damage from Horizon Union, but there's a lot of AoE from Horizon, so it's going to be difficult, I think, for Prime to dodge all that, even with a potential Bumbus.
And look how aggressive Echrome is positioned already, just moving into the jungle, looking for farm or stragglers. Because I don't think there's a fight that he's unhappy to take right now. Like, if it's a one-on-one in the jungle, he wants it. And that's why they're up here, getting position for this next spawn of the red buff. Breeze is nearby along with Prime, but I don't even think they know this is happening. There is a ward nearby, but can they come out and contest this?
No way. No, they know it's happening. They've got the timer as well, but they don't want to contest that. And a 4-on-4 at this point around Echrome is not really where you want to be. You want to take more fights around Dimmy on the right-hand side because Spudio can ult over to those and help impact those where Echrome cannot. So there's no reason to take the fight towards the most fed member of Horizon Union. Take it away from him because it's easy for you to do so.
Well, that's why Horizon Union are continuing to force the issue on this side of the map and trying not to let that be an option for Outcold, who try and manufacture one by ganking the King Arthur and right. Unfortunately, King Arthur able to make it out of that one without too much trouble, and they find little there.
Prime tried to make the cute play, stun, Dark Omen, immediately switch over and cripple, but I don't think you have time if you thread in the Dark Omen. You have to stun and then immediately transform if you want to have a chance of following up off of it. But honestly, unless you're frame perfect, I don't even know if it'll connect. I don't know if it connects at all because the transformation time for the Morgan takes a little bit, and then the deploy time of Whirlpool is pretty significant. I don't know. That seems like a pretty tight window to be a true combo.
Dimmy, though, diving for this, trying to commit to find this kill into the King Arthur. He's taken up into the air, but there are beads to get him back out of it. Dimmy absolutely wants this, and now he's got to find a way back out because Original's rotated over. He teleports to the Sand Clone, finds the solo kill, and that's it.
Yeah, set good, by the way.
Yeah.
It's solo kill and then some for Dimmy. He had plenty of time.
And now Prime makes his rotation. Steffen finds a nice kill off a nice two-man knockup from Breeze. That's a double for Prime. Just when things look scary for Outcold, they fight around Dimmy and find a nice pick in mid.
Split triple kill right there. 3 members of Horizon Union go down, and straight to the Pyromancer go Outcold Gaming.
They have every right to start pulling this objective. No, they want to split Quadra here, Aggro, and it's on the menu. Prime finds it to complete the killing spree. Pyromancer goes down as well.
Outcold in a really good spot now. What looks like Horizon Union might try and snowball off of these picks onto Breeze. Outcold steal that Gold Fury, and ever since have been in a really good spot. Breeze has been able to get some more farm. They've been able to pick Mr. Steffen a couple times and make it that much easier for Breeze to survive. Now they're the same level, and Breeze has completed his Gauntlet of Thieves. That Insta-Kraken might not kill this Jormungandr anymore, and if you're committing any more than that, you might end up losing the fight on the back end.
And for what it's worth, the kind of deaths that he had, I mean, those are real easy ones to tilt off of. I mean, it's one thing to be 0-3 if you're doing all the right stuff for your team and you're just the one that dies for it, but I mean, to get picked off twice in 2 fights, I mean, that he stayed on track is huge for Breeze.
Especially the second one.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's had that moment where you get killed, walk out of base, use your jump to get out of the fountain, and then they're waiting for you between your Phoenix and Tier 2 and insta-kill you.
Right.
Nothing is less fun than that for you on the receiving end, and Breeze basically got that as he walked into the jungle after he got Kraken in mid. So he's done a good job of slowing down the pace a little bit and getting himself back into parity.
Prime held it at the Messenger's Mask and instead finished off the Ethereal Staff so he could steal some HP for it. Interesting, I mean, the Tier 2 is still really good, so he's going to get a lot from it. But just a bit interesting, that's the path he went. His Original's already low. Prime right there waiting on the Scarab's Blessing to drop off so he can complete the kill. Prime starts things off. Spudio finds one of his own for a double kill. And all of a sudden, this King Arthur isolated and has to start falling back.
Prime still has his Mystic Rush available off this transformation, but doesn't end up finding a good spot for it. That fight was all Breeze, by the way. A 3-man knockup right on top of Gold Fury. He doesn't hesitate afterwards, immediately goes into the ultimate to get the chase down going in their favor.
Oh, Mr.
That's
Steffen.
sort of turnaround you want to see.
Yeah, the best he can hope for, I think, is to find a pick somewhere with a Kraken. He does at least get Spudio, as I said, probably the best he could hope for to at least make it 4-for-1.
Still not great, though, when you get 4-for-1.
Yes.
I mean, that's going to be a Tier 1 tower and left. Should be an Oni Fury after the fact as well, but Prime is a little bit isolated, but has the stealth and the movement speed from the Messenger's Mask to head right towards this Oni Fury.
Let's get it started up here, fellas. No reason not to. They're up. 6,000 gold here at this point. And this is the kind of thing that I think can make Out Cold look so scary when they're all firing on the same cylinder, which is that they do play the map really well as a unit. I love that they recognized where their lead was with Demi. He finds a huge solo kill here up against the Arthur in lane. Meanwhile, at that same time, Out Cold is doing a 3-man gank in mid that Horizon Union can't be ready for. I mean, that kind of like shot calling together, it can be tough to beat.
Especially when you know there's going to be communication between Original and Vaquozo about what happened over there in the solo lane. And as that communication is happening, you find a double stealth knock up into a double stealth stun. That's a little bit serendipitous, or maybe it was intentional. If that's intentional, then these guys are certified Mensa members. 'Cause that is crazy.
That's pretty high level, right? If they can make that work. Spudio is committed. The living nightmare here, and Prime is in the stealth, and Original's this target. He has to have the Scarab's Blessing on him right away. It does get procced, which means he has indeed been brought back. The rest of the team not quite as committed to this as Breeze. Now he'll fall back with that last charge. But he might need to be careful. King Arthur here lurking. In comes Demi on the set, and they go right for E-Chrome. The priority target removed early.
And he had no relic, so it's an easy kill for Demi. Stefan finds a decent Kraken that knocks Demi up and gets the beads, but Stefan still loses almost his whole health bar.
And keep an eye on Prime. He's the one lurking around the back end. He's the one that wants Stefan easily cleaned up for him. Why not come back in and start looking for one more target as well? He turns into the Robin for the up down. My man's a certified maniac. Finally ends up dropping, but that's a tier 2 for Out Cold.
Listen, man, you turn into a character that can up down, you must up down. That's the way it goes.
Where's that written?
You know.
Yep.
The
ancient text of
Smite rules,
yes.
you know. Smite rules.doc basically is where that is. You just have to do it, but either way, it's a worthwhile trade. Prime is able to open up the fight a little bit more and let Out Cold get that tier 2 in mid with some ease. And even though trading Prime for Mr. Stefan probably isn't worth it in a vacuum, when you look at now that there's less room for Horizon Union to retreat to once Out Cold starts going for this Fire Giant, it looks a lot better.
Well, Out Cold have certainly positioned nearby on the back of a couple of really good fights all in a row. Now Horizon Union have got to find some kind of way to stabilize. Earlier on, it was all about E-Chrome for this squad. Is it still that same way? Can they play through him to turn this around?
Yeah, he's the only one who has a chance, really. I mean, Original has been completely neutralized in this game. He's more or less target practice at this point for Out Cold. It's why I hate the Thorns pickup on characters like Osiris Jungle, because once you're behind, they don't care about hitting you. They'll kill you before the Thorns does any relevant damage to you.
Pyromancer will at least go down for Horizon Union, but I mean, it's going to cost them Original, and another Scarab's Blessing has been put onto him to start the fight off. That means they won't have it for the rest of this bout. They start with the King Arthur, who's already down quite low, but Breeze, undeterred, goes into the ultimate to keep this chase going. Knock up into knock up, and Khepri suddenly looking like lobster dinner. There's the slow and the blink in from Frostiak, and Khepri goes down to Prime.
Demi able to chase out 2 members in the mid lane. Spudio cuts down Stefan on the right-hand side, and E-Chrome is just a little bee running for his life, but Prime says, that looks kind of fun. Can I get some of that?
No, we've already dodged one ultimate, please, not a second, and in it comes. Spudio finds the first kill. I love this ambition that's coming out from the King Arthur here, but unlikely, I think, to find results. He's at least buying himself some time while the rest of Out Cold regroup and they try to chase him down. But if he leads them right back towards the FG, they might not feel too bad about it.
Prime finishes it off with help from Frostiak. Deicide for Out Cold, and it should be a Fire Giant. They are a little bit weak here, Finch, but with good tanking mechanics, they should have this one under wraps.
They will indeed head back towards that FG. No chance of it being stolen. Just a question of if anyone falls, and with the way that they're DPSing it, it won't even come up. They burned it so quickly. Fire Giant now 22.5 minutes in to go along with their 11k gold lead at this point. And they still haven't even put a Bumbas on Prime yet. I'm pretty sure he's kept that at the Messengers. Yeah, and moved into Poly. That's another huge power spike for him.
I kind of like this. I was a little bit worried about the potential Bumbas whenever he started building into it because there is so much AoE and it's so easy to hit him with bees. And then that bees damage actually becomes very relevant against you when you're taking more damage. But now he doesn't have to worry about it. He's actually holding all that gold. Didn't buy anything on this back. Probably considering what to sell for or buy with the selling of the Mage's Blessing. He's a little bit off of getting Obsidian Shard, which is I imagine where he'd want to go. He had 1300. He's got 1500 in hand, 400 or so from selling the Mage's Blessing, which is about 300 gold short. So it decides that the 10% CDR for mages is worth more than tier 2 magic focus potentially. I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. It's just a matter of how much he wants to hit tanks in this next fight. If he's going to be hitting tanks, it's better to get the percent pen. If he's going to be hitting squishies, I'd rather have the CDR to try and get back my ultimate a little bit faster and get back my stealth faster.
I do love the itemization from Out Cold in general, though. Demi has not just the Frostbound to slow you, but the Wing Blade to get through kind of the only thing Original's doing at this point, which is slows, and it hasn't deterred him at all up to this point. Spudio has the Fail Not, so he comes in, marks someone to be crit off the back of that Living Nightmare, and they're taking a bunch more damage than perhaps they expected. I mean, a lot of the choices they made for Out Cold really worked around that spike in the middle of the game, around that Gold Fury, into the Pyro, around that fight they had in the right lane, and now Horizon Union's starting to run out of options.
No more towers left on the map for them, and they're really far behind in XP. I mean, they still only have 1 level 20 Finch against 4 on the other side, and Breeze is out leveling your jungler at this point. That's not a good sign.
No, that's going to make things difficult, but on the Phoenix, the game does simplify. It becomes this game of just defending on the Phoenix with a 6th man helping out for more damage. If Horizon Union are going to turn it around, it will have to happen here. But will it happen through Demi, who starts the fight off just by a dry blink in, and then Breeze comes in on the backside, and they make the King Arthur the early target. That's a sick Scarab's Blessing to at least keep him alive, but they will not have one for Original. He falls easily.
Man, Demi didn't, he just sandstormed in and started hitting Mr. Stefan.
Yeah.
Mr. Stefan didn't even know. Now Horizon Union knows they're on notice as Out Cold takes the left side Phoenix. A late frenzy from Astia, but they're on the retreat for now. They need to heal in the fountain.
Right over to the mid Phoenix goes Out Cold, and you're right, man. What a way to start a fight. There's all these blink initiations, Jormungandr ult for disruption, maybe even Robin blink. There's so many ways we see fights start. Rarely is it just set kind of blinking in.
Yeah, I'll take this one. And Mr. Stefan didn't realize it until Demi had already autoed him once or twice. I mean, it was that easy for him to force Mr. Stefan out. And there's a lot of damage in Demi's build. This is not a pure protection build, it's a pure health build, but he's not losing that much damage. I mean, Blackthorn, Frostbound, you're still getting damage from those selections. Would like to see him get a little bit more attack speed. I think he's a little low in that department with this current build. Yes, he's gonna get some from his passive, but if he could have switched out his boots for Ninja Tabi at this point, that would have been pretty helpful for him. He would be doing so much more. If his game plan is to go in right away in Kingslayer, attack speed is really what he needs.
That's right. Obviously, the power would synergize more if he were poking out and kind of sending those clones in more often, but instead that hasn't been the play from him. 4-0 at 9, though. Kind of hard to give feedback on this kind of performance here from
working.
Demi. Yeah,
it's definitely working.
And I like stone cutting in this spot too. Anyone that's going in there doing all this in-handing certainly feels good, so that's a good pickup from him. We're about a minute away from this FG spawning, Ryan, and I don't really see a world where Horizon can come out and try and defend that.
No, you're giving up fire at this point. I mean, Out Cold burned it so fast last time. That's obviously not information that Horizon Union is privy to, but
sure,
they should get an idea of how long it took them to DPS that objective, and it took them no time at all.
Frostiak has the Blood Forge here as well. Less about the lifesteal, more about aggression. Spudio goes up and right back down. That must just be to put the slows out, perhaps?
It was to stop the backs on the left-hand side, I think. It made both Echrome and Original stop their backs, and maybe that would have been enough to open up. It also could have been Spudio saying, hey, I think I can go kill this Osiris, who's a level 17 and alone. And once he saw Echrome local on his ult, he decided to land back down.
Demi was also aggressively positioned. Maybe he was planning on trying to follow that up too. But either way, clearly an audible was called by Spudio and the rest of Out Cold Gaming for whatever reason. Instead, they shall come back towards FG.
And this is where Failnaught looks even better, because normally you'd be like, man, we lost our global ultimate. That's going to take a while. Between Transcendence and Failnaught, he has 30% CDR.
Yeah.
He's halfway to having it back up. It's not a lot of time, downtime on even a global ultimate when you have that much CDR.
Right side will be pushed up. That's where they're going to make their assault. The left side, though, was pushed out by Horizon Union, so they won't have to worry about the fire minions for a little while, but Out Cold has time. If they just want to stay at tower line and keep Horizon stuck here, that minion wave will meet up here before too long.
Wouldn't mind seeing Demi or Spudio go over and push that wave a little bit, because it is far away. I mean, you're talking at least 2 more minion waves are going to spawn for Horizon Union. So you're probably 30 seconds before that wave starts hitting the Phoenix area. That's a pretty long time to wait.
Or you could not worry too much about it at all. Frostiak and Prime just move right to mid. They only sent Original over to deal with it, and he's nowhere near enough at this point. Stefan low. Aegis buys him a second, but Dimmy's right there when the time runs out. Original in trouble too as Prime hunts him down. Everyone forced back towards the fountain as Breeze is low in the back. But they've already gotten the mid Phoenix, and the left one's only just about to respawn.
They can get that one with ease, and just a weird split from Horizon Union. Original can't 1v1 Breeze at this point, basically. Why try and send them in the 2v1? I would have much preferred Horizon Union and let Frostiak split push mid, and then try and take a 5-on-4 on the right-hand side.
Instead, now they must deal with the Fireman wave and left with the weakened Phoenix down a member. King Arthur already has been forced into his own ultimate, but everyone just groups on him and starts dropping the damage. Frostiak burns through the heels and finds the first kill. This is a nice abduct though onto Prime, and even still it's not enough damage. Buddyo finds the double. That's 2 members down, just E-Chrome left to try and hold on, but he can't get it done. Out cold, take the first game.
Really good turnaround from Out Cold. There was a little bit there, Finch, where I was getting nervous for this squad, but they looked much more composed than they would have, I think, in Phase 1.
Yeah.
You could tell the teamwork is starting to develop for this team, and they're able to turn it around and then really knock Horizon Union down very easily.
And I love some of the things we saw from the itemization, the way they built this game too. I think chilling on the Messenger's Mask from Prime was a really sick call. You still get a lot of the benefits from it, not quite as much of that movement speed, obviously, but I think it worked for him really well.
Yeah, and then you don't lose power, you don't take more damage, you don't have any of those downsides, so you end up looking like you can still move around very quickly, but with the Ethereal Staff as well, you're much tankier than most Morrigans usually are.
Yeah, and another shout out to Breeze. I think he made a really good recovery in that mid game too, because he was on a bad spot in that early game. That's only game 1 though. Can Out Cold close this out? We'll find out in just a moment. Skillshot, the official production partner of the Smite Minor League.
Welcome back, folks. Out Cold leave their opponents just that, and they'll take it 1-0. Anatoly here to break it down for you, and that one just was up and down.
A dominating performance. It kind of went awry about the 13-minute mark or later when Out Cold Gaming started to control some of the goal theories. Very aggressive frontline overall from Out Cold Gaming. Dimmy playing the set in the Soul Lane, Frostiak on this Robin, Breezy playing the Jormungandr, and then Pretty Prime to transform into Frostiak's Robin to dive that backline.
Dimmy in the past has been talked about as a passive playmaker, a guy that kind of plays these characters that lose lane and then kind of win the team fight later. Very uncharacteristic for Dimmy to come through on the set, but the performance was all characteristic. I mean, you expect dominance from Dimmy, just not in this fashion, and here he is giving it to everybody. New flavor.
A lot of it was his build, a lot of health in his build, Frostbound Hammer, the Blackthorn's Hammer, being able to just dive that backline with all the slow potential, the damage mitigation that you're getting from the Sandstorm, makes him just less passive the way he's normally known for and just more free to do whatever the hell he wants, getting that solo kill in the tower and then even surviving after the Osiris rotation.
I think really the lesson to learn here is that Dimmy's good at whatever he needs to be good at.
Yep.
It's just in the past, that was his role on his previous team. Now that we're up front, different meta, different squad, different Dimmy. He's able to kind of pull anything he wants out. Game number 2. P's and B's pretty pleased. We got OCG now in that driver's seat. First selection, and of course, the first ban as well. We've seen a number of standard bans, the ISISes, the Amusing Cobs come to mind. So AMC will start things off, and we'll go directly to Kronos.
No surprise here to see the Muzen Cobb being stripped away. I think that the Chernobog was actually a good look in that last game here from Spudio to make those rotations happen. Also in the mid lane, coming through was Pretty Prime on the Morrigan. A great look from him to be able to do a little bit an interesting build where he keeps the Bumba's Mask at tier 2.
Right.
A lot cheaper. He doesn't put himself too much in exposure to damage. You're not getting extra damage. You're also going to be dealing more damage from leaving it at tier 2. So a creative build that really worked out for Pretty Prime.
I like it. Just an item that allows you to move ahead just a little bit. Our bans are locked in. No Jormungandr, Isis, or Kronos as Horizon. On the other side, taking a look at 2 mages and a Geb. Now OCG on the clock, looking for their first pick. It will be the set one more time. Dimmy went 5, 0, and 13, but no such thing as bad luck when you've got Dimmy on your team. So I got to agree to the set one more time. With that in mind, the Morrigan will be chosen across the way, and Horizon Upbringing looking for one more to round out their first half.
Horon didn't ban away the Merlin and the Zhonghui the Merlin like the last game, but they're not picking the Merlin. They kind of want OCG to lock this in for themselves. I guess they didn't feel comfortable having Morrigan and Merlin in the same composition and have one of those in the side lane. So It's kind of like a double ban by taking away the Morrigan, but I think Pretty Prime will be so comfortable on this Merlin if he locks it in.
The Osiris can show up across the way as well. But Out Cold Gaming going to pick up the Kumakarna and that Merlin that you mentioned, Toli. So we certainly should see a lot of presence from the Sand Switcher in that middle lane. The Morrigan and Osiris need to be paired up, and that last choice will be Ullr. Ullr selected for likely E-Chrome.
Probably going to be in the long lane for E-Chrome up against Spudio. Chernobog's still available, but with the secondary phase should be a way to kind of limit some of the god pulls, but instead taking a shot at the jungle fails instead of the Hunter player. A little surprising to see Dodgy to be that consistent ban. Fails, known to be aggressive. Dodgy is aggressive, so that kind of makes sense.
When it comes down to the Dodgy, this is a character that I think we've seen banned out when against specific players, right? Adapting comes to mind as someone that you want to ban out the Dodgy. She has the tendency, or the capability, I should say. She has the capability to one-shot players.
Yes.
But perhaps more important is the Powwow. The ability to just demand a beads burn is really important.
And it's not only the Powwow, but the Hun Bats that they banned as well. Because Ullr doesn't have CC immunity, Morrigan as well in their kit, they need to invest use of the beads, and that leaves them exposed to other CCs that they have to worry about. So that makes more sense now.
If I'm OCG, I am looking for the... If I'm OCG, I'm definitely sniffing around the Ares jungle. The Dodgy and the Hun Bats ban are very much in line with Ares and what he wants to do. Horizon are definitely looking for characters that aren't going to demand a bead strip, right? You can look at this draft and go, all right, I don't have to beads. Maybe beads will be nice to get me out of jail, but I don't have to. Instead, Susano going in, I think that's playing to your team's strengths. I think there's a lot to be said about looking at this drafting. Ares would be great here, but fails. Are you better at Susano? Okay, we'll go there, and I like that choice.
The difference between Susanoo and also Ares is Ares feels like more of a brute force god to be able to do the damage down thick and dirty, whereas Susanoo can finesse you a little bit harder, and Fails likes to kind of weave through the traffic.
Exactly. He's going to be on one side of the team fight, pull you in, jet stream to the other side of the team fight, launch the Typhoon. That's what he's looking for, to play multiple sides here. We'll see if multiple sides can bring back one victory. Out cold, Horizon. It's Finch, and it's aggro.
Well, it will not be the Morrigan this time for Pretty Prime. Mr. Stefan going to try his hand at it as it's Finch and aggro indeed here on the call. Looks like there's a bit of a scuffle here to get things started early, but everyone is okay. Dimmy going to reprise his role on the set, but he's already been hit by the axe. No further follow-up, though, so Dimmy should be able to make it out.
Yeah, I love this draft from Out Cold. I mean, anytime Frosty X on Susano, I think this is his best god by a mile. I immediately get excited because I think this god is pretty underplayed. Prime on Merlin, Breeze on a god we've seen him on before in the Kumbhakarna, if my memory serves me properly. I think Outcold got a bunch of gods they really, really like, especially when you compare it to what Horizon Union have, which is Echrome on an early game god where I think they really needed him to have a god that can carry in the late game, though it looks like he's moving towards the mid lane in this one, letting Mr. Stefan do a lot of the ADC responsibility, which makes some sense to me, I suppose. But Original back on this Osiris jungle, which was completely invisible in game 1.
No, we saw him.
Well, yeah, on the kill feed.
Right.
On the receiving end. That's about it. I don't like Horizon Union reprising that pick at all.
You know, and I knew we were going to disagree on this. I kind of love it, actually. Because it absolutely did not work. Like, not even a little bit. And they're coming back to it. So it's something that clearly must have been working for them in scrims or behind the scenes. They practiced it. And I do think it is, if it's something that has worked for you, to have faith in it and come in and give it one more try and see if you can make it run and, like, run it back. I kind of like it, actually.
I understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
But at the same
Go ahead.
time, things working in scrims has never mattered at all, number one, ever in the history
Untrue.
of practicing. Number two, it's really that it wasn't like, oh, I got unlucky and this just didn't work because
I
of
got
X,
behind a
Y,
little bit
Z.
early, right? Yeah.
This was Outcold Gaming, understand how to play against Osiris that isn't ahead, and Osiris that isn't ahead sucks and always has sucked since he got nerfed when he first came out. That's where it comes from for me. Osiris is designed to bully you from ahead and stand on top of you and won you 6 times in a row.
Right.
When you're level 11 and they're level 15, that doesn't work. It's not a. If you're playing a god in the jungle right now, it has to be able to kill an ADC or a mage who's up 4 levels on you. Otherwise, there's no point in playing it. Susano can do that. He can move you around, let other people kill you. He can do enough burst damage by himself to kill you.
Yeah, Original's about to play real aggressive in the early game, and you're going to feel real dumb.
Cool, let's see it.
I'd love it to
I
happen.
look forward to it.
Axe ends up landing from Echrome. Hail of Arrows is there to follow up, and Echrome finds first blood onto Prime.
Thank God Original was there.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
dude. Well, I mean, he's got an assist. What does Frostiak have? Yeah,
Nothing.
you can hold that.
Nothing at all.
Spudio aggressive now into Mr. Stefan, who's already used his beads, but that last auto missed, and that's all that it takes for Stefan to live.
Now Spudio probably should be zoning at this point. Yeah, no reason to clear this wave. Let Stefan stand wherever he wants and try and get around, but no reason to let him get this farm. Spudio's got nothing to go and do at this point, so at least zone some of it.
Looks like he has. Look at this aggression from Horizon Union, though. But the taunt off the mark. That will put an end to it unless this axe lands on Debris. Shield wall there to follow up. And a reposition from Echrome to the back of the fight. Love it. They might not still be able to steal this red buff, though. They've been zoned out by Prime. So the aggression almost pays off, but not quite.
So that's why Spudio starts clearing the wave on the left-hand side. And that feels like a long time ago in the grand scheme of Smite, right? I mean, that was a full 5 seconds ago that Spudio was zoning, but that's because that he knew that Horizon Union was setting up for that red buff invade. He clears, he rotates, and that means that Horizon Union can't afford to all-in commit to that buff invade. Very smart.
Breeze perhaps looking for a gang attempt of his own, but doesn't look as though Dimmy's positioning further forward. So this is just poke while they look to try and clear the wave. Slow does land, but no kill potential there based on the way they played it. But I mean, so far it has felt like Horizon Union's been a little bit more active here in the early game. For what it's worth, they were doing a little bit better than Outcold in the beginning of game 1 as well, but then that mid-game, they started to get a bit out-rotated, and Dimmy just kind of was winning the 1v1 in lane. So we'll see if they can make some adjustments to avoid that.
Yes, I think understanding how to kill Dimmy is going to be big. That's another thing that Osiris doesn't really do well. How do you lock down a set? You just don't. His Sandstorm teleport, I believe, is just outright longer than Osiris ult range, so you have to position on the other side of him and then predict it and then make sure you land it, including all the movement speed he gets from Kingslayer.
Or you could reduce all of that with your Horrific Emblem and the slow from your Sickle, potentially get a stun out from the Tether. What you do against all that?
Horrific will help. Horrific will help. Just got to make sure you find a real spot for it. I don't think we saw him really use that Horrific Emblem effectively.
Right.
After he forced Frostiak Blink at 2 minutes in.
Sure. And I'll admit, I'm not in love with this Osiris with the Horrific Emblem. I do like the idea, though, in some cases, of sticking to your guns and what's working.
Finch, you like being stubborn.
Yeah. Wait, what are you saying?
I'm just saying,
what is
maybe.
This? I'm endorsing other stubborn people?
Yes.
Maybe, a little bit. Breeze in some trouble here in the middle lane now, is looking for the root, but it will not come in time. Echrome gets the kill, assisted heavily by Original.
Couldn't have done without him.
Exactly, on the Osiris. And now he's going for the red buff invade. Who else could get this done, aggro, as Spudio must just watch on, knowing he can't affect this.
The dominance of Osiris jungle right
Yeah.
now, no doubt about it. 0-0 and 2, been a part of every single kill
Yes, I'll stop you when
for
you're on.
Horizon Union, and they couldn't have done it without him. Go ahead and stop me.
I gotta wait for you to be wrong.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Stefan is on this Morgan ADC. I actually really like Morgan here in this ADC role. I think we saw Zatman towards the beginning of this year play it really, really well and kind of show what it can do here. Has a lot of kill potential as Demi is being stunned out. This might even be a little bit of trouble here for Demi. I don't know if he has the blink left, and he does not. He ends up falling. Frostiak makes it over in time to maybe try and make this 1-for-1. But Defender of Olympus comes in to mitigate damage. That's a huge solo kill.
That's big, and Demi messed up there twice. As soon as he uses the second Sand Clone charge, Fakozo immediately hops on the ultimate, and that's the right idea from him. But what he didn't realize was that the second Sand Clone charge, after he's skewered, you can still teleport to that. So Demi activates Sandstorm, doesn't teleport to the Sand Clone that's a little bit higher up, and then immediately after he uses Sandstorm a little bit late anyways, maybe he was just coming up off of cooldown, then uses Kingslayer to try and get some movement speed, but he's slowed from the ultimate. And even still, he had another moment where he could have, if he started auto-attacking off Kingslayer, you get your charges back more quickly, so you could have done that. And then he still had a Sand Clone charge that he could have teleported to, but he put it right at his own feet and couldn't teleport away. It's a solo kill for the Guan Yu, can't take that away from him, but Demi definitely could have done some things to get around it.
I've been watching Astiniax here on this Athena, and I don't know that I'm in love with it so far. It's still early days, obviously, but I mean, there have been a couple of times where it hasn't been quite on the mark. We'll give plenty of time for them to try and make some corrections as things goes on. This is already the stealth used by Mr. Stefan. Avoids the stun, but epic uppercut doesn't land. So Stefan just switches immediately into the Susano and is still playing aggressive. Not going to be fine. A turnaround into the 2v1 here, but he makes it out.
Yeah, that one's tough for Breeze. I mean, you got to be landing those blink epic uppercuts. If he lands that, Mr. Stefan is in a lot of trouble. He still has the transformation, probably can still get away with all the mobility that the Susano would have provided, but at least you force the beads in that instance. The fact that he gets away with only using the ultimate there is a win.
I agree, and I like the pre-select of the Susano in this spot. It's such a versatile pick. A lot of the times you see someone like Robin picked up for that same type of versatility. He has so many escape options, can be used aggressively if you want to keep going or to retreat. Susano can do a lot of that same stuff.
Wait a minute, he could transform into a second Osiris jungle.
That's pretty nutty. I can't believe he hasn't been selected. That might be a misplay, actually, that he hasn't
How
pre-selected
do they ever
that.
walk away from you? You know? You're so slow.
Yeah.
You get to land all the slows. This is something that I think it was Fine OK I heard talking about on stream, and it is very true that so many people, when discussing a pick, they're like, well, what if the best case scenario happens, you know?
Right.
It's like, what if every time you locked in Loki, you're like, guys, I know it doesn't look great here, but what if I hit a 4-man decoy explosion? That's going to do a lot of damage.
That would be a lot. Well,
You know?
would
What
it
if I
even
was
though
a-
actually? Would it actually even be that much damage?
What if I pick Osiris jungle and I get to invade early a lot and they don't kill me for it?
Is
You know,
that
that-
the best case scenario?
Yeah, pretty much.
It is undoubtedly what has happened for Original. So if it is the best case scenario, we're in it. We're there.
And if this is the best case scenario,
It's not
Finch,
great.
it's still not impressive.
Yes, I agree. Listen, I've already said I don't know if I'm in love with it in general, but I like the idea of sticking to your guns.
This is
That's
just a
fine.
fun bit that I'm doing.
Yeah, at
and
this
I
point, yeah.
appreciate both of us playing along.
Yeah, I'm here to have some fun. Ninja Tab I selected makes a lot of sense on the Osiris here for Original. Plus, he's got the Blackthorn Hammer. Very standard start except for the Horrific Emblem. And they have gotten several red buff invades. It looks like Original's going to be in position for one more as Frostiak's nearby. The aggressive ward reveals the Susano lurking, so immediately goes into the tether, well zoned, I might add, and that's a red buff invade.
Can't fight the Osiris in that position. Spudio's got a great angle though, and Breeze finds Ekro.
And that's a nice epic uppercut. Spudio's been on point, though, with these ultimates for the CC immunity. That spells the end of E-Chrome. And in comes in the backside Mr. Stefan, but he thinks better of it and instead retreats, out cold, respond by taking down one.
Just good rotation from Spudio. It's the same sort of situation we saw earlier, where Spudio was zoning and then rotates in, and then because of that, Horizon Union back it up. Except this time they try and commit to the buff. E-Chrome jumps up and over the wall, and Spudio's just in a perfect position to cut him off. By the way, another good use of the ultimate for CC immunity, as you mentioned.
Yes.
But also, maybe Astia is supposed to be holding that taunt in that spot to stop the 2 people that are hitting E-Chrome on the landing instead of the 1. I agree with you. The Athena has not impressed me so far.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing about Athena is that you really don't need much more than 1 or 2 taunts sometimes.
Yeah.
And you can just win games for your team. So even if they haven't been perfect, let Ostia sort of get into the groove and then see if we can find some big ones for the team later. The question is, though, what becomes the follow-up later? Is it the E-Chrome on this Uller? Is it to try and set up for Fako to come in on this?
It's Osiris too.
Oh, it's Osiris. Oh, the Spirit Flail.
That's the one.
That's big damage.
And
If
it's from
there's
a range.
5 people in it on the taunt,
That'd
how
be a
much
lot.
damage is that?
That would be a lot of damage, and he would get faster from
Yep.
it too. He
That's
gets
huge.
movement speed. That's big. That would be big. I agree with you. There is no follow-up. Is the real answer. There is
Right, that's what I was. Yeah, well, that's where I was really hinting at.
Yeah.
So I assume it must be a step in transformation then into like a Prime or a Merlin maybe, but that would take a lot of coordination. You can't reflexively, I don't think, go into the Merlin and get his damage off in time.
No, you definitely cannot. And so Horizon Union's basically just using it as a peel tool.
Sure.
I imagine, but there are better gods for that, I think is the argument to be made. So Ostia really needs to be leveraging the global presence, because that's the one thing that Athena has that other Guardians do not, is the ability to get anywhere and affect the fight very quickly with that damage mitigation. That's where I think Ostia really needs to make a difference.
Well, Horizon Union gave up on the Gold Fury to come to the red buff that had already been started. Breeze finds a 2-man Mez into the pull from Frostiak. What a dirty combo. Prime finds 1-2. That's it for Ostia. He's been sent back to base, and now it's out cold posturing near this Gold Fury.
Beautiful classic Frostiak combo right there. The Typhoon into the Blink Wind Siphon to keep the CC chain going and guarantee that damage. Love it.
Frostiak now taking the battle up against Original, realizing that's not for him, by the way, as he is forced to retreat. Spudio in trouble. Mr. Stefan turns into the Guan Yu, and now he's under the horse. This actually worked perfectly, because now he can't be peeled by the CC. Good call from Mr. Stefan.
This is where Morgan ADC feels so difficult to deal with, because her 1-2 combo just forces you to use a relic and move, because otherwise you take too much damage. And as soon as that happens, you're dead. The transformation is what makes the Morgan so powerful. It's what makes all stance switchers very powerful, and that's that they can force you and force your hand with their first set of abilities, and then have more buttons to push after the fact. It's what makes Merlin good. It's what makes, Tyr even, and gods like that. Uller, very strong, is that they can force your hand with their initial kit and then punish you with the second.
And that felt like a pretty necessary kill. That last exchange favored out Cold pretty well. They were starting to get right back towards parity, if not be in a position to move out in front around the objective. But losing Spudio there cuts all of that off. And it drew Breeze in as well to try and peel for him, which he obviously couldn't do with Mr. Stefan on the horse. So just well played, I think, from Mr. Stefan.
So surprised you're willing to bring up Drew Brees when you're such a big Panthers fan.
I am a Panthers fan. Not a huge one, though. Come on. I like watching Drew Brees.
Yeah,
You know
Drew
your boy
Brees-
will pick up Kamara.
Yeah,
You know it.
I know you will. I know you. Not if I get the first
Get to
overall
work
draft
on this,
pick.
by the
I
way,
know.
man. Come on. What are you doing? You're lazy. Hey, you know what? If I say it here on broadcast, you don't have a choice, right? And then you're in a
That
bad
is so
spot.
not true.
What?
Here's the thing.
You can't Welsh then. Everyone will know.
Does that matter to me?
No, you're right. I've never met anyone who cares less what other people think.
Thank you.
That's actually true.
It's important in this lineup. I found.
Yeah, but you don't care about what people think who maybe you should care. Like, it's too... If it's not Joe or your dog, I don't know. It's not a guarantee you're going to care.
Well, are me and my dog cool or what?
Well, yeah, they're pretty cool. E-Chrome in some trouble. He's not cool this time. Frostiak burns him down. Original also in some trouble. Doesn't quite get pulled back in, but instead gets rooted into the epic uppercut. They should clean this one up. And they do. Breeze finds that last hit. Mr. Stefan's still here and stealthed, but he's too late, I think, to get anything done.
Could be a Gold Fury pull. I like this idea more. Strip the red, it's much more guaranteed. And then even if you come to this Gold Fury and then you end up not being able to get it, you at least got something from that fight.
Ostia gets stunned out while the rest of the team grabs Gold Fury out cold, claim that, and they do finally now enjoy their first real lead here of the game. Looks like Demi's also found his footing in the solo lane. He's been able to start bullying out this Guan Yu even through the sustain.
This is where, right at the same time, basically, that Out Cold hit the gas pedal in Game 1, turned on the Jets, and really ended up pulling away. It's also where their composition really comes online. Frostiak Susanoo is a character that really doesn't scare you until they hit this point, and then all of a sudden they're one of the scariest junglers in the game. Merlin, I don't think, has a particularly strong early game. Now is when he starts to feel like he's doing a lot of damage. Spudio's got a big power spike in Crusher. Medusa always thought of as a mid-game god for the most part. I mean, this is where the comp starts hitting it.
Yeah.
And Out Cold is really timing their burst as well.
And now Horizon Union have to try and find a way to answer a little bit better than they did in game one. And I think the way that you evaluate that is where are the adjustments they've made in this draft. They've got Mr. Steffen on the Morrigan himself this time instead of that there for Prime. So he's going to be a part of it. Getting the Pyromancer does not hurt as the team groups up to play around that objective. It's still original on this Osiris, though. He's in better spot, but still behind. So I think he's going to come from somewhere else.
What? Somewhere else, Finch. We were so high on this Osiris jungle, though.
Well, you know, it still has Horrific, still has Pridewind. That's more slows.
You're not wrong.
How do you get away from all that? Spudio forced to dash back. I mean, he might even have to build a wing blade or something.
Well, Original has no blink, so it's impossible for him to ever close that gap. Tyquozo might need to ult soon.
He's not the only one in danger. There's a fight on the left-hand side, too. I saw all those skewers being used all at once. Breeze is inside the passive, but there's no one to come up and proc it. They finally get there, and Original gets the kill credit. Osiris shuts him down. Spudio's looking for a big ultimate, but can't find a ton. And in comes Mr. Steffen to drop in the damage from Morgan. Original, keep this train rolling. There's the Spirit Flail for 2. He's hitting home.
Huge plays for Original on the Osiris jungle. Definitely not the two-man stun from Mr. Steffen, rather.
Whom?
Make that 3 kills that Mr. Steffen got that fight effectively. It was just a matter of Original stealing.
Doug, can you bring up the what's the stat that we're looking for? The spaced created stat?
The ASC, average space created.
Yeah, if you could bring that up. Original, even if you don't want to give him credit for those kills, my man is killing it in space created.
I don't think he is. That's the thing. It was really Mr. Steffen who created the space. And Original walked into that space and was Finch. He got a kill on a Merlin with no relics and no flicker who was 5% HP.
That's huge. Okay.
And a Kumbhakarna in their passive.
Someone had to do it. And it was Original who got it done that time.
Again, I want to make it clear, we're not making fun of Original. We're
No.
just poking fun at the pick, which is doing better than I am letting
At this point, it's more making fun of me for defending it, I feel like.
Yeah,
really,
you're right.
honest.
Yes, you are right.
Yes. But it's worked out well for Out Cold here so far. Finally, though, a good fight from Horizon Union to bring them back closer towards parity. Only down about 700 or so gold, I would say, here at this point. At the 18-minute mark, so they can certainly still fight in. Original now a little bit closer in terms of experience. This disparity, though, between E-Chrome and Prime could potentially be a bit of a problem. Prime on this Merlin is a good bit out in front. That's something they have to worry about, but for the most part, Horizon Union have brought themselves back.
I mean, it's already getting to the point where Ullr isn't falling off. This is still his strong period, is this 3-item power spike, but it's a little bit later than you really want it to be. And the XP getting lower and lower. I mean, how does E-Chrome ever kill Dimmy at this point? He's just got...
Right.
Dimmy has a little bit of physical protection from the Glad Shield and then just a ton of HP. E-Chrome's not really built to handle it.
Yeah, this is what Morgan ADC can do so well. Spudio, I don't know, he could have done anything differently, especially without relics. Just another easy kill for Mr. Steffen. And the rest of Horizon Union going to use this time to move into the Tier 1 tower in mid and grab it. They still actually haven't brought it down, so there's plenty of damage coming out from it to add in to this equation. Even one auto would be enough. E-Chrome low in the back and Breeze, and Prime just going to sit on him and find the kill.
Dimmy joins the fray. First time he's rotated. I think this is going to go pretty well for him. Original nowhere for him to go. It's a double kill for Prime.
Now they're going to need to get this Guan Yu out of here. He hops onto the horse to try and at least clean up Prime and does find that kill. Defender of Olympus gets him out of there. He actually goes and joins Mr. Steffen, it looks like, so they've abandoned Makuozo here in the middle lane. He's on the retreat path as Tier 1 and left goes down.
Not a bad fight overall, 2 for 2, but I feel like that could have been a little bit cleaner. I think Prime actually chose the wrong stance in that fight. He used his Arcane stance and then switched into the Frost and ended up missing the Blizzard. And then the Frostbolt gets body blocked. Takes him a little bit longer than he wants to kill E-Chrome. I think if he changes into Fire stance in that spot, just drops the Dragonfire right on top of where E-Chrome was landing from that epic uppercut, E-Chrome had no jump, no beads at that point, and he'll die to that dot damage as soon as Breeze mezzes him in it for a couple extra ticks, and then that would have left him with more damage to provide onto Original or onto Fakwozo once he jumped on him. So a little bit of a missed change stance, I think, for Prime. Though, I mean, as long as he lands Blizzard, that fight goes a lot better. He was just off the mark with it. So I guess maybe it isn't the missed change stance, just the missed ability.
Some of the map, though, has been opened up now, Ryan. The Tier 1 in mid and in the long lane have both been brought down. Might help out Horizon Union a little bit, though 20 minutes in, not as big a deal as those Tier 2s. They're now pulling the Oni Fury and really out cold, not quite close enough to contest. Breeze blinks past, but can't make it there in time. What about the fight on the back end? Spuddio's already used his ult. Breeze finds a 3-man mez, but it doesn't get E-Chrome, who brings him down low.
Wow.
He at least gets the Frenzy off in time, and that means now Frostiak can move in, clean up Stefan. Original now quite low as well. Does drop the tether, and that buys him some time, but the dots from Spuddio too strong.
Dimmy teleports in, has the beads, and Kingslayer begins. Fakwozo does have the ultimate, but he's going to need to use something here because these slows from the Frostbound Hammer are strong.
And they can just keep this chase up. Frostiak comes over the wall. Underneath the Tier 2 finds one more. That's 3 down for Horizon Union. Out cold, up 5 against 2. And even though you lose the Oni Fury, if you can come over and just start up the FG, I don't think you're going to shed any tears.
Man, that's such a big play from Breeze. I mean, it's a little bit late to get in there and steal the objective, but they wait until Horizon Union is full committed to the objective. A 3-man mez plus the Frenzy plus he lives is crazy. It kept Horizon Union on the line. It affected which way E-Chrome jumped. It changed the whole fight.
I love the way he had the awareness to drop that Frenzy there too, as now the Fire Giant at half HP. It's just a Stiniax and Fakwozo to try and defend up against this. That's a 3-man taunt on top of all the Fire Giant damage. That's about the best they could have hoped for there. Fire Giant low, but out cold. Do at least confirm that. And now that Spuddio's made his way in, suddenly a nightmare for Horizon. There was maybe a glimmer, a little bit of light, but it was not enough.
Yeah, grouping up right before the fire pools happen and then getting triple taunted into triple lava pool is one of the easiest ways to get just wiped on a Fire Giant I can think.
And they still don't get wiped.
And they still don't get wiped. It's just not enough damage there for Horizon Union. If Mr. Stefan's there, out cold is out cold. I mean, they are toast.
What that makes me think, though, is that maybe going for the contest there is not even the right call, because that was the best case scenario, right?
Yes.
And they still aren't able to strip it away. Maybe they could have gotten over and put in a couple more autos to steal, but, I mean, that's about the best that could have gone.
No, I don't think it's even that bad, though, for Horizon Union. In that situation, getting fire is such a low percentage, you know, oh, man, we got super lucky and made a big play there. You got Aegis from Prime and Spuddio that fight, and losing Fakwozo and Astia for that is totally worth it.
They even got the kill on the Frostiak. He will not have the Fire Giant buff too, so perhaps they can make some use of that. Out cold, now grouping up in the long lane to start pushing down this Tier 1. They'll let Frosty push in the mid lane with the Susano, and Horizon Union at this point can only fall back. They're not down that much gold, Ryan. I think there's an argument to defending on these Tier 2s.
Yes, I agree with you. The problem is you just lost Mr. Stefan's Changeling ult and Astia's Defender of Olympus. That was a big play by Dimmy that he went in with that Sandstorm and chased those two out. You're out of position for this one. This doesn't mean that you have to give up every Tier 2.
Right.
I agree with you. I think that you group up in mid here and try and take the fight. You'd rather take a fight down 4K. It's really down 1K because no one from Out Cold has backed since they extended the lead to 4. So you want to sit at this level against someone with Fire Giant, then take a fight down 11K on your Phoenix. I think this is a better fight.
I don't know about walking up on Dimmy, though, and getting your ultimate forced out. You want to try and get them to fight under the Tier 2 if you can, and that's a big ultimate that Fakwozo has already lost.
I completely agree with you. You can't get into melee range right now against him.
Breeze blinks in to start the fight off. Epic uppercut into the ultimate from Medusa. That's a ton of damage already. Frostiak the beneficiary as he removes E-Chrome from the equation. Fakwozo has made it back to the Phoenix, but it's actually Dimmy who's quite low. They just don't have enough damage to punish. Meanwhile, the Tier 2 tower crumbles. They tried the defense, but it wasn't enough for the initiation from Out Cold.
And that's really because you didn't have key ultimates, I think. I mean, Horizon Union could have had a better fight than that, but they were on the back foot because of them losing all these ultimates they didn't need to lose. It would have made it that much easier for a good initiation from Out Cold.
Original and the Stiniax look like they're considering moving out to try and contest, but they give up on that one. pretty quickly. Not much chance they'll be able to find any picks there. Pyromancer will go down for Out Cold. There's still a tier 1 to grab and right. Demi should have that. There is still the tier 2 remaining a little bit beyond that as well, which they should be able to push and cleanly grab. I doubt there will be an actual Phoenix push on this FG, but I mean, when they take every tower off the map, you've done enough.
That's so much gold that they've gained in the last few minutes. It really does break the game wide open. And Horizon Union just has not done themselves a whole lot of favors in these fights. Yeah, look at the golden hand. A couple over 3K, everyone else around 2,500. That's a full item for just about everybody. And they're power spike items too. It's Obsidian Shard for Prime, Pride Wind for Breeze, Bloodforge done for Frostiak. I mean, that's a lot of really strong items that just got finished for Out Cold that you're going to have to contest with now if you're on Horizon Union.
And this is the part of the game where I think that your point about the Osiris, I know it's a little glib earlier, where it makes so much sense, right? If you are down a few levels and you're Hun bots, you're still perfectly relevant in this next fight with your Fear No Evil.
Yes.
But I don't know if Original is on this Osiris. Who is he meant to bully? Not the level 20 Merlin or the level 20 Spudio on Medusa or the level 20 Demi on set.
And I think the itemization is a bad choice for him as well. I mean, has he auto-attacked anybody 3 times this game?
No.
At once? No, I don't think he has. It's been the ability kills a lot of the time that his double was from a Spirit Flail. You don't get to 3 auto-attack anybody with this Stone Cutting Sword. It would have been much better for you to go for just pure tank at this point and just try and be an obnoxious frontliner and let Echrome and Mr. Stefan do all of your damage for you.
The problem is, I just don't think they've drafted enough damage elsewhere for that kind of audible to work. I mean, we were talking about 10 minutes ago that Echrome didn't feel like quite enough follow-up for this Athena, so
Yes.
they've got to have it coming from somewhere else.
I agree, and all Mr. Stefan. And in fact, Wells is going to do real damage too. I mean, he's got a Void Shield on this Guan Yu. He can kill Prime with a full tank build. That's what Guan Yu does pretty well. So that's not too much of an issue. It's just that you don't have a solid front line. And going back to Original's item selections, I hate the Runic Shield here in comparison to the Anchile. I do think Runic is under-purchased, but it's in lane against Guardians and Mages. Anchile would have been great here up against Breeze and his follow-up damage off of the root. You know, you stop the root into ult combo. Maybe Prime tries to flicker in and change stance and kill you with damage there. Then he becomes silenced. I don't know. I don't like the Runic at all. It's more health and he needs it, but if that's an Anchile and then a Mantle of Discord or a Spirit Robe instead of those two, it's way better.
Breeze taunted in, it takes a little bit of poke, but nothing worth writing home about. Mr. Stefan did not go the Bumbas, which has kind of become core on Morrigan nowadays. And I think he might be right. I mean, he just can't afford to take all that extra damage.
It's the extra damage and the fact that he has to deal as much as he can.
Breeze gets this fight started off with another 3-man mez and has forced all the relics out from Echrome. I don't know how you can ask for more from your Kumbhakarna, and Demi's right there to follow up. Echrome falls first. Original in trouble, Lord of the Afterlife to try and escape. They at least get the Defender of Olympus damage, but he joins Echrome sitting on the bench. Next one up is Faquozo, and Demi is not slowing down anytime soon.
Demi gets to chew up the backline all by himself. And that is an experienced team right there, understanding how to play around the Morrigan. The Morrigan is the problem in this match, right? Mr. Stefan's the one doing everything for them, but we can't initiate on him. He stands too far back, he's in stealth, how do we ever find him? Who cares where he is? Let's just kill the other backliner, and then Mr. Stefan's the only one we ever have to worry about in the team fight. I think Out Cold played this game beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that Breeze has, I mean, this is kind of what we were talking about with some of the life that he was able to help breathe into this team. That he's had so many good initiations this game off that Kumbhakarna. There was that beginning one where he missed, I think, the Blink Ultimate, and then after that, he's been on point with everything since then. So again, I love him as an addition to this roster.
And don't forget, he changed the course of Game 1 as well with a big knock-up on the Jormungandr. So I think he played very, very well today, and that's a very good sign for Out Cold moving forward.
I think so too. Again, this is a rough start to the phase for them, the way those first 2 weeks went, but they found this win here against Horizon Union, one that I think they were expected to be able to grab. You gotta win those ones you're expected to win if you're gonna be able to regroup and then beat some of those top teams too. Remember, it's crowded here in the SML EU, and a team, even with this much talent, can get pushed off. They gotta make sure they're bringing it every week.
And the fact that Breeze and Demi both have big sets today is a really good sign, because those are two guys that I've expected to continue to grow. Demi, I know it's crazy to say, you expect him to continue to get better, but he took a while off from competitive Smite. This was his first season back. I think it took him a little bit to ramp, but he looked absolutely great today.
Yeah, do also want to talk a little bit about those EU standings. Let's see if we can get those up here on the screen. At the very top is Team Queso. You might not have expected it, but they're the sole owners of that spot. Is Simplicity 2-1, Flashpoint right there with them too, and then Horizon Union out cold tied at 1-2.
Actually, Horizon Union a little bit ahead because of that plus-minus, but
Right.
that's a good step forward for Out Cold to close that gap. If they would have been sitting down winless still, they're in a tough spot already.
Absolutely is. Still, though, within striking distance, it's going to be a long phase for these teams trying to make it towards the end of that one. We still have more SML coming your way. I believe we're about to swap over to North America, so we'll be right back after the break.